Good afternoon. So I invite you to take your seats. We're about to begin. My name is Adam Hyde. I'm the Assistant Director for the Eudaimonia Institute, and we are very excited today for our guest speaker. So without further ado, let me invite Provost Kirsch up to make some introductory remarks.
We've been pondering for the last decade or so a way to officially honor the end of the academic semester and usher you fabulous students into exams. Students have suggested things like a great bacchanal on the quad, or a cancellation of exams all of a sudden, or a whole variety of suggestions have come from you, but at this wonderfully intellectually engaging institution, we figured what better way than to invite a Nobel Prize winner to stimulate us all intellectually, and not just any Nobel Prize winner. There are two great themes that have woven through this academic year at Wake Forest, among many, of course, but one is this notion of rethinking community, this idea that in a world that is ever more virtual, diverse, polarized, and global, we really need to think anew about the ways in which we connect, both face-to-face and otherwise. We also have a mighty theme that the Eudaimonia Institute has put forth this year around the idea of global and local poverty, and those two culminate nowhere better than in the mighty work and mighty life of Muhammad Yunus. So we're enormously grateful. I speak on behalf of the President and Board of Trustees and on behalf of the Faculty Advisory Board and leadership of the Eudaimonia Institute, which has made today possible. I'm going to ask the Director of the Institute, James Otteson, to come up and introduce our speaker himself for the inaugural Noesis lecture and what I frankly hope will be an inaugural end of term, moving into exams, moment we come together as a community to be stimulated intellectually and in the name of human flourishing and pro humanitate.
Thank you, Provost Kirsch, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here this afternoon. As Provost Kirsch mentioned, my name is James Otteson. I'm a professor of business ethics here at Wake Forest and also a professor in the economics department. But I'm also the executive director of the Eudaimonia Institute, which is co-sponsoring this afternoon's event. It is my distinct pleasure and privilege to welcome you to what we hope will be a signature event here at Wake Forest University. The Eudaimonia Institute was founded a little over a year ago with a mission of encouraging investigation into the nature of and the institutions that support eudaimonia, which is Aristotle's word for genuine human flourishing. The Institute aims to foster multidisciplinary research and scholarship aimed at helping us understand what it means for people to lead lives of meaning and purpose, and what the public and social institutions are that can encourage such lives. One major part of our programming is an initiative called the Noesis Lectures. Noesis, as you all know, is an ancient Greek word which means intelligence or thought. But more particularly, it is the word that Plato uses to refer to the highest type of human knowledge, the highest knowledge of which human beings are capable. It represents the highest epistemic position that human beings can achieve. Our Noesis lectures, therefore, are reserved for those individuals who have succeeded to a level of human accomplishment that is unparalleled, who have contributed to human knowledge or human betterment, warranting singular recognition. It would be difficult to imagine a worthier person to be our inaugural Noesis lecturer than Muhammad Yunus. Professor Yunus is a Bangladeshi economist, banker, and humanitarian whose work has transformed the lives of millions of the world's poor. In the mid-1970s, while a professor at the University of Chittagong, Professor Yunus began looking for ways to help the poorest of the poor that he saw around him every day. From the humblest of beginnings his search eventually led to the founding of Grameen Bank, which today has grown to some 2,600 branches worldwide and 9 million borrowers. Almost all of its borrowers, some 97% of them, are women. Nothing like that is true for any other bank in the world. For his work, Professor Yunus was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2009, the Congressional Gold Medal in 2013, and, along with his Grameen Bank, the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. In naming him the 2006 Nobel Peace Prize winner, the committee wrote, "Lasting peace cannot be achieved unless large groups of people can find ways in which to break out of poverty." Moreover, Yunus's long-term vision is no less than to eliminate poverty in the world, and his work has shown us one important vehicle through which we might dare to hope to accomplish just that. We are honored to have Professor Yunus with us today as the Eudaimonia Institute's inaugural Noesis lecturer. Please join me in welcoming Muhammad Yunus.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, thank you. You scare me with the inaugural and Noesis and all that. I'm a simple guy. I can just talk about what I do. You make it sound so difficult now. Anyway, I'll tell the story, what I do, and trying to struggle through my work, kind of things I enjoyed, kind of things I trying to address, and share with you. If how it appears to you, it's up to you. The most common thing people ask me about my first work with the Grameen Bank, the microcredit that is started in Bangladesh. And one very popular question is, why did you begin that? What was the immediate reason to start lending money to poor women? You are a university teacher, teaching economics. How did it happen that you thought about doing something for the poor people? Is it a research project? Is it something some organization wanted you to do? And of course, none of the above. I try to emphasize that what I did is not something pre-planned. It was not something that you think about it, design something, and then you start. That's not what it was. It was sort of a spur of the moment thing, and did it because of the terrible situation that existed around me in the country. The people who lived next door to the university campus were extremely poor and going through a famine in the country. And when you teach economics in the classroom and have a famine raging outside your campus, you can't just go on teaching the same old thing as you did before. You start wondering what you teach in the classroom, whether it has any meaning in the people who are outside that campus. And the more I thought about it, more frustrated I got because I felt I was teaching the wrong subject, economics. This has no meaning in the life of the people who are outside. And it felt like some kind of fairy tale to me. It kind of sounds good, but it's not real. So I was struggling with myself. Should I teach this? I was very proud of what I teach. It's beautiful, elegant theories and so on. But suddenly I lost complete faith in what I teach. So I was trying to regain my faith in myself, that is it something I should do, teach economics? So while I was going through this agony, I thought, why don't I just walk in to the village next door and see, as a human being, as a person, I can be of some use to somebody in that village. Not because I learned economics, which has no meaning to them. As a person, is there something that I can be doing in the village. So my ambition was to make myself useful to one person, at least one person, in the village every day. So I thought that I have no ability to do anything bigger than that. So see if I can be of help to somebody. So that was the beginning. And each day I met people and tried to see what I can do, what I can be helpful for. And I did lots of little things. And it led to many other things. One thing is the coming close to the village, knowing very intimately, because now I know everybody in the village, they know me. I know the situation in every family. What I get very, again, upset about in the village of the loan sharking, as I know more of the stories of the loan sharking every day, I get more depressed. I don't know how to help the people who are victimized by the loan shark. Again, I blame what I learned in economics. They never taught me how to react in a situation like that. I felt extremely helpless, not knowing what to do. Suddenly an idea came, why don't I lend the money myself? If I lend the money, then they don't have to go to loan shark. They will come to me. And the problem for them will be solved. They will not be victimized by the loan shark because they are now not connected with the loan shark. Immediately I started doing that. Take money out of my own pocket, started lending money. I had no idea whether they will like it, whether they will come back to me. Very soon it became very popular. More and more people start coming. Everybody wanted to borrow money from me. And I feel very good that they liked it. And I feel very happy that I did something which helped people, protecting themselves from the loan sharks. As months went by, they became bigger and bigger numbers, and I have to pour in more and more money from my pocket. Then I started thinking, how long can it continue? Because my money will be running out very soon, because it's becoming so big. So I started wondering how to keep it running. In order to keep it running, I thought, why don't I go to the bank, which is located right in the campus, to let them do the lending. I have done my part, now they should take it over. When I proposed that to the manager of the bank, the branch there, he almost fell from the sky. He said, no way, bank cannot lend money to the poor people. I said, why not? Explaining, oh, they're not creditworthy. I said, how did you know? Did you do it yourself before? He said, no, I didn't do it. Then how do you know they're not creditworthy? They will not be able to pay back. I said, everybody knows it. I said, I don't know. Just because everybody knows, you have to show me what is the example that you have in mind. So obviously he never did it. It's just a kind of idea that you don't lend money to poor people. Banks don't want to do that. So a big debate started. And he will not agree to lend money, and I will not give it up. I keep on accusing him, accusing the banking system. I still didn't do good. So I became very nasty to the bankers. I started accusing them for doing the wrong things. And it didn't make me popular among them. I said, why don't you just take it over what I have done? They said, it's not possible. So after several months of trying, and in the meantime, my money is coming too close at the end of it. So I offered myself as a guarantor. I said, I'll be guarantor. I'll sign all your papers. So the fear that you have they will not pay back will be taken care of, since I'll be the one who's ultimate payer for the loans. So they didn't take it very seriously, but I didn't give up on pushing that idea again and again. Ultimately, they accepted it, and I was very happy. They accepted it not because they are convinced by my argument. I was becoming so nasty with them that this is the only way to get rid of me, to give them the money give me the money that I need. And they were absolutely sure this is going to fail, because nobody ever in the right mind think that poor people will pay back. Initially, they may have done it, but soon they will stop doing that. I was very happy that they agreed, and I kept signing their papers, taking responsibility of paying back, and they're giving money. But it keeps growing, no sign of collapsing. It's a perfect operation, 100% repayment, no problem whatsoever. Then they become very scared. Maybe it will grow big and then fail. Then there's lots of money has to be paid, and I cannot pay that. They started being stingy, didn't want to pay as much money as they did before. And I was very angry with them. I said, it's working so well, why do you stop it? They said, well, we have to be very careful and so on. So I was so angry, I said, forget about these banks. These banks will never help people in the poverty. Why don't I create a bank separately? So that's the idea of creating a new bank came into my mind. It started in 1976. And finally, we became a bank after a long struggle to convince the government, convince the central bank to allow us to become a bank. In 1983, end of 1983, we became a bank. Then we kept on expanding our work as big as we could. And soon we became a nationwide bank. Today, we have over 9 million borrowers in Bangladesh, with 2,600 branches all over Bangladesh. We work in every single village of Bangladesh. Bangladesh has 80,000 villages. We work in every single village. Our basic principle that we started out with, people should not come to the bank. Bank should go to people. So I said, that's where banking system went wrong. They want everybody to come to their office, so it makes it extremely impossible for the villagers to go to the bank, because banks are all located in the cities. When we created our bank, we named it Grameen Bank, meaning village bank. So that this is a new kind of bank which doesn't work in the city, it works in the village. So that our branches are located in the village. We have now 2,600 branches. All of them are located in the village. Not a single branch of Grameen Bank you'll ever see in any city, anywhere in Bangladesh. So we wanted to distinguish ourselves in that we live with the villages. And people ask me, how did you design this bank? All those intricate procedures and actions, and then how you do that. In the beginning, I used to try to explain to them. People don't get it. So I said, well, it's very easy for me. So I tried to explain it in a different way. I said, since I don't know anything about banking, that was a big help. I could do anything I want. I was not forced to follow any rules of the banking and so on. And I designed my own. Every time I need a little procedure, little steps how to do that, I just look at the conventional banks, how they do it. Once I learn how they do it, I just go ahead and do the opposite. And it worked beautifully. They go to the rich, I go to the poor. They go to the city, particularly city center, I go to remote village. They want collateral, because everybody knows bank will not give you a penny without a collateral. So we dismiss the whole idea of collateral from our banking. It's a collateral free. So there is no legal document between the lender and the borrower. And that's what scared the hell out of the bankers. Oh, how can you do that without any legal papers between the lender and the borrower? So it works. They argued that it can work for a while, but finally it will fall apart. I said, as long as it works, I'll go ahead. And when it falls apart, then I'll think about it. But I'll not take it your word that it will fall apart. So it's all free from all kinds of legal documents. We are the only bank in the whole world which is lawyer-free. We have no lawyers in our system. Wherever we work, we don't need any lawyers. How does it work? One can explain it's a trust-based banking. Trust is a funny word in economics. You don't have it. You don't trust anybody. But that's the way we did it, and still we do it. We lend out billions of dollars, but no papers, and they pay back every penny. So conventional banks are owned by rich people. If you own a bank, you have to be a rich person. We reverse that. Grameen Bank is owned by poor people. The borrowers of Grameen Bank are the owners of Grameen Bank. And they are all women. And they sit in their board to make decisions of the bank. This is the largest bank in the country, run by women. Illiterate women from villages, they run the bank, most sophisticated bank in the country. So this is how it's been done. And every step you see, it's a reverse process. And I try to explain, if the conventional bank go up the ladder to go to the rich, if you're going to the poor, you have to reverse the process. That's a very simple thing. So reversing a process, achieve things which you cannot achieve through the conventional path that you have. You have to build a new path, taking you all the way out on the other side. And that's what we have done in the process. And everybody said it can work in Bangladesh, but it'll never work in anywhere else. I said, I don't know, but I think it should work anywhere. The first replication of Grameen Bank took place in Malaysia. We were very happy that they did, and they did a great job. And then people say, well, it can work in Muslim countries. Maybe Malaysia, a Muslim country, Bangladesh is a Muslim country. I don't know how to answer that question. Nobody else did it. Luckily, the next country was Philippines, which is a Catholic country. So now they cannot say it's a Muslim country because it works the same way. Then they say maybe something to do with Asian culture. Then a few years later, it was replicated in the United States, in Arkansas. Now they cannot say it's an Asian culture, it's the United States. So every time we do that, they come up with something that to explain it away is a peculiar thing, is a funny thing, it's not normal. I said, if I do it all over the world, they will always find an excuse why it should not work. In Mars or something, you never know. So that's the way they protect themselves. So out of the way the bank works. How can it work with trust? Last year, we lent out over $2.5 billion in Bangladesh with tiny loans. And the amount keeps growing every year. After all these years of work, something interesting happened because we built in the savings program into Grameen Bank right from the beginning. Not only you take a loan, you also open a bank account. You have to save even a penny if you have to do that every week. But you must save something. That became habit for all these 9 million borrowers. Initially, it looked very small. The last year was a very interesting year for us. We lent out $2.5 billion in loan. The total savings in the borrower's savings account exceeded $3 billion. So I tell the staff of the bank, I said, look, table is turned now. You can't call them borrowers anymore because actually they are lenders. Because they gave you more money than you gave them. So the net lender are the borrowers. You are the borrower yourself now. So even a tiny saving can become such a powerful thing. Imagine those women who have savings of $3 billion in the bank in Bangladesh, how they feel. It's a funny thing about money is you don't have to use it. The fact that you have it changes your character completely. So feeling that these women have their money in the bank account, every villager knows that these women have bank account and they have lots of money in the bank account, transform their personality, the way they behave, the way they think about themselves, their family, and so on. While we are doing this Grameen, we had to face other problems. Every time I see a family, the Grameen Bank, extremely poor family, I see the health problem in those families. The first one, this drew my attention very early on in the village. Every family that I meet, I see the children cannot see after the sun goes down. They become blind of sort for the night. And I was shocked. I had no idea that such a thing existed, that children cannot see at night. So I immediately talked to my doctor friends and health experts. What is this? Is it terrible? Is it something ruining their eyes forever? They took it very casual. No. This is a disease called night blindness. I said, I see that. It's night blindness. So they so casual about it. I said, can it be cured? Of course it can be cured. It's simple. I said, what is the cure? It's a vitamin A deficiency. If you let them eat vegetables, green vegetables particularly, then they will have the vitamin A and their eyes will be as good as new. No problem. Or give them vitamin A tablets. Regularly they eat vitamin A tablets, then they get vitamin and they will be good. Their disease will be over. So I thought about it, what should I do? Tablet, I immediately rejected. I don't want these poor women to go to medicine shop, buy the medicine and so on. They will never do that. So I promoted vegetables. I said, you should be eating vegetables and make your children eat vegetables so that you can overcome this. I've been explaining to every family. But months go by, nothing happens. No vegetables, nothing. I keep saying, what is the problem? Why didn't you grow vegetables? This is a disease, you have to cure them. So they come up with explanations. We don't have the seed, we don't have the land, we don't have this. Always explanations. So I thought about it. So I started a new thing. I started selling vegetable seeds, very good vegetable seeds. Put them into tiny little transparent packets. Each packet cost you 1 penny. I said, now you cannot tell it's expensive and so on. It's 1 penny only. Varieties of vegetable seeds. As the staff of Grameen Bank go into the village to do their routine job, they carry a basket of vegetable seeds. They tell, this is a vegetable seed, anybody interested can buy it. Initially, not very good, but gradually they got used to it. All we say, you just sprinkle it anywhere. Don't worry about land, wherever you want. Nobody will object to that. It's your vegetable, you eat it. And it became very popular. Not only Grameen Bank borrowers are taking it, non-Grameen people, they also have vegetable seeds. They never saw such a beautiful vegetable seeds for themselves. And our vegetable business grew. We created a separate business. As Grameen Bank grew, our seed business grew. At one point, we became the largest vegetable seed seller in the country. And by that time, night blindness disappeared from the country and never came back again. So I looked back. I said, look, all you needed to do is a tiny little thing. And it didn't cost anybody. It didn't need any special arrangement. All I did, create a little business on the side, selling vegetable seeds, and take advantage of the structure of Grameen Bank so that it's made available to the villagers. And they saw this is delicious food that they can eat. And in the meantime, their children got cured from the night blindness. So I felt encouraged. Then I noticed the problem of sanitation. There's no toilets in the villages of Bangladesh at that time. And I tried to explain, look, toilet is very important. It spreads diseases. You have to have toilets. Who cares? Nobody pays any attention. Then I was wondering how to address this issue. I came up with an idea. I made a rule for Grameen Bank. If you want to join Grameen Bank, first thing you have to do is to dig a hole and use it as a toilet. So don't tell me you don't have money, you don't have this. All you need is just to dig a hole. It doesn't cost you anybody any money. Very reluctant to do that because they got used to going out anyway. Now you have to have a specific place. So the borrowers, the older borrowers, didn't pay much attention to it. But they spread the word. When other borrowers, the new one who wanted to join Grameen Bank, they always consult the old ones. Then old ones give them advice. And the first advice is, go back, dig a hole. If you don't have that hole, they will not talk to you. They became our best ambassadors. And it became part of the habit of every Grameen Bank borrower. We were small at that time. As it grew, every family had to have that toilet in a pit latrine. Then we introduced a business, a separate business, to produce sanitary latrine, very well designed by UNICEF, but it's only available in the city. So what we did through our company, produce these toilets in the village, and Grameen Bank gives a loan to the family. They buy it from the village right there. You don't have to spend a lot of money in carrying this stuff. It's a very heavy stuff. And install it in your home. So you have a sanitary latrine for you. So every borrower now becomes a owner of a sanitary latrine, user of a sanitary latrine. So it became part of the Grameen Bank culture. Everybody has to have a sanitary latrine. We have a separate business, and we produce it, they buy it. And it generated so much pressure on the non-Grameen families, women particularly in the non-Grameen families. Because for women it's a torture not having a latrine, not having a sanitary toilet. Because men can go anytime they want, they don't care. But women have to wait until the sun goes down. Can't use anything before that. So it's a terrible situation. The moment they saw that the sanitary latrine is coming, they started accusing their male folks in the families. How come even the beggar woman has a toilet and we don't have any toilet? So brought so much pressure, and they had to come to our spot where we are producing that, buy it so that they can install. Today, Bangladesh is a country where all the families have toilets, which India is trying to struggle. It's one of the major aim of the current government in India, with the Modi government, is to have latrine. They have those toilets in the families. They don't have it. So we took that lead, made it happen as fun. I'm giving these examples because not only on this, every time I notice a particular problem, I create a business to solve it. First, you saw the vegetable business. Second, you saw the sanitary latrine business. Then came another one, a big one, about the electricity. Villages don't have electricity in Bangladesh. When the sun goes down, everything is dark. Little kerosene lamps come up. Hardly anybody can see anything. And as a child, I grew up in the village. That's how our homework has to be done, all the reading has to be done in the kerosene lamp. So we know that, how difficult it is. And I said, how come after all these years, we're still at the cave age, still the kerosene lamp, nothing else? And government will never be able to bring electricity to all these villages. And we thought about something. Why not solar energy? So I don't know anything about solar energy. So I talked to the solar energy people. I always do things which I don't know anything about. I said, this is my specialty. So I talked to the people. They said, well, no, Bangladesh is not a place for solar energy. North America is fine, Europe is fine, but not Bangladesh. It's too expensive, it's unknown technology for people. They wouldn't know how to handle it. So the specialists make it sound so terrible. I say, I don't see anything terrible about it. I don't have to understand how a television works, how a radio works. I just buy it and I start it, and it works. That's all I need to do. I don't need to go to the science of solar technology and so on. All I know that it converts sunshine into electricity. That's all I need to know. So I created a company, called it Grameen Shakti, or Grameen Energy, to sell solar home system for the villages. In the beginning, it's so difficult to explain to people. They say, no, it's too expensive, we cannot afford it. Who knows, it will work for years and years. You said it will work for years and years. If it doesn't work next year, next month, what do? You'll not come here, or all our money will be wasted. So they were very reluctant. Selling 4 or 5 solar home systems a month was such a struggle. So we are trying to find a way how to make it easy for them. One idea clicked. The message that we took around to the villagers, first we asked the question, how much money you spend on kerosene every month? Okay, I spend so much. You, I spend so much. Okay, you give me the kerosene money every month, and I give you solar energy right from the beginning. You just pay me since then every month the same money that you would have spent in kerosene. You do it for 3 years, and that's it. After that, you don't have to pay a penny to us. It's all yours, free. People say, are you sure? I said, yes. And if you don't like it in the middle of it, you always say that, okay, I don't like it, take it back. I'll take it back. You don't have to pay a penny after that. People say, how can you pass it up? But it looks okay from us. If you're only spending kerosene money, and I can return it anytime I want. If it doesn't work, I said, take it back. It clicked. Everybody wanted to have a solar system. The funny thing about solar home system, once you have an electricity in your house, even a little lamp you have, an electric lamp, you can see it from miles. And this is a big thing. What happened in that village? Oh, they have electricity. How come they have the solar energy? How come we don't have it? So we should have it. So we started, it's a roaring business. We started selling thousands and thousands and thousands. Today we have 2 million homes with solar energy. And it's still growing. And many, many other businesses, other NGOs, they wanted to do the same thing. So they created many more companies to bring solar home system. I said, you're most welcome. We are here not to make money for ourselves. We are here to provide the service. You provide the service, we are friends. Let's work together. So we have over 4 million homes in Bangladesh, in the rural areas, with solar energy. We created more than 60 different companies of one type or another, some in healthcare, some in education, some in other things. And people say, what kind of business that you do? This looks very funny business, because you keep telling that you don't want to make money out of this business. I said, yes. This is a business we create to solve problems, not to make money. They said, no, then it's not a business. I said, what is your definition of business then? Making money is the business, or covering the cost is the business? What is the business? There's a big debate. I said, look, to me, covering the cost, produce a product or a service, sell it, cover your cost, and you're in business. People are buying your things, so you're in business. They said, no, you have to make money. I said, I don't make money. That was not my intention. Does it mean that, is there a law in Bangladesh that if you don't make money out of your business, you'll be put in jail? I said, I don't see any such law. So I'm not violating anything. Simply it's my decision, my personal decision, that I don't want to take money from them. So that controversy continued, and we continued with putting up more and more those businesses. So in order to facilitate the discussion, we put a name to it. We call it social business. And it defined it by saying it's a non-dividend company to solve human problems. And people say, oh my God, this is not true. You cannot do that. You're taking away the whole incentive from business. The only incentive in business is making money. Maximization profit is the incentive. I said, I don't agree fully with you. I know profit is a very powerful incentive, but I disagree that that's the only incentive. So I kept repeating by saying that, look, making money is a happiness. That's why people want to make money. But to me, making money is a happiness, but making other people happy is a super happiness. So that's an incentive too. If I see that I make other people happy, I become super happy. So it's a question of how you feel about it. Then it goes into other discussions. I said, you know what? is the failure of the capitalist system. Capitalist system failed to properly interpret human beings. Human beings are assumed in the capitalist system as someone who is driven by self-interest or selfishness. I said, that's not the human being that we know. We know human beings are selfish and selfless at the same time. But the capitalist system doesn't accept the selfless part of us, only concentrate on the selfish part. As a result, we created a world which is extremely selfish world and create all the massive problems that we created over years. If we just simply added one more thing, selflessness, world will be so different. Then we'll have business to make money, and we'll have business to solve problems. The moment we bring our creative power into solving problems in a business way, all the problems will be solved. And people say, well, that's not true, because why should anybody be in business? One has to be crazy like you to do that. I said, I'm not the only crazy guy. There are many other crazy guys. It's a question of explaining that. If you explain, people will happen. And one breakthrough came for us. One big company from France became very interested in our idea of social business. In the meantime, I wrote books about social business. They became very interested. Danone. It's a milk product company. You call it Danone or something. So we created that company, a joint venture. They wanted to create a social business company in Bangladesh. We call it Grameen Danone Food Company, to address the problem of malnutrition. So what we did, we put all the nutrients which are missing in the children. Half the children of Bangladesh are malnourished. So what we did, we just put all the micronutrients, vitamin, iron, zinc, iodine, and all this stuff, put it in a small cup of yogurt, and make it very delicious for children. Children love it. Since it's a social business, suddenly cost of production goes down, because you don't need any frills anymore. In the money-making world, you had lots of frills in the production process and so on, add up the cost, and you charge high prices for that. Here, you don't need any frills. You just stick to the basics to make it very cheap. So children eat it, and within 7 to 8 months, people become healthy child because they get all the macronutrients back. It became very popular in the country. We sell directly to the poor families so that they are the most malnourished children are in those families. So it became very popular in Bangladesh. Other companies keep coming to start social business. So we have joint venture with BSF from Germany to bring mosquito nets, produce mosquito nets in Bangladesh to protect them from malaria. We have joint ventures with the Intel Corporation in the US to protect the pregnant women, because pregnancy is a big problem in Bangladesh. Mothers have high risk of death at the childbirth. So they came out with a highly technological bangle, beautiful ornament. If you look at it, it's a beautiful ornament, very powerful technology. It monitors your body as a pregnant woman. And it gives a weekly message. This is your 10th week of your pregnancy. You can feel this kind of symptoms in your body. These are normal, don't worry about it. But if you have symptoms like this, press the button, we'll get in touch with you. So that's how it's done. So one after another, all these technologies come and we continue. We have one joint venture with a company, Canadian company called McCain. It's a French fry company. Yeah, it's a French fry company. They were very interested in our work. So we created a joint venture agricultural program in Colombia. They got so excited about social business, they want to do it more. So they created a social business in France. They're a potato company. They buy all the potato from France, like any other countries. But then they came up with the idea that 20% of the potato grown in France is thrown away. Why? Because they are not in the right shape. Their machines, French fry machines, they are the largest French fry producer in the whole world. They control the 60% of the global French fry business. So that's the company, McCain. So their machines don't produce enough French fry to justify that shape, so they don't buy it. So 20% of the production, farmers' production is thrown away because nobody else will buy it. What they did, they created a social business company to buy up all those potatoes, and produce potato soup, because soup doesn't need any shape. And it's a social business because they said we never paid any attention to it. Now that we have social business eyes, we look at problems and we want to solve it. When they did it, it became very popular soup in France because it's a social business soup. And they came out another idea. 30% of the vegetables grown in all over Europe, 30% of the vegetables are thrown away. Why? What is their crime? Why can't they sell it? Because they are not in the right shape. A cucumber which is fat on one side and thin on another side, no buyer wants to buy it. In your supermarket, all vegetables have to be in military formation. If there's any departure from a shape, a size, a color, it doesn't sell. So these 30% of vegetables are just plain thrown away. McCain thought about it. If you could do it with potato, we can do it with vegetables too. Vegetable is not their business, but they extended it, creating a social business. They buy up all the throwaway vegetables, cut them, and chop them up into little pieces, and nicely package them, call it ready-to-cook vegetables. Once you chop them up, people don't figure out what the shape was. It's a delicious food. So all the food came back to the system. That's a social business. They don't want to make money out of it, cover the cost, and so on. So this social business idea kept coming. I said, what this capitalist system has done took away the possibility of solving problems in a way with the heart, with the enthusiasm, bringing technology to address all these issues in a business way so that it becomes sustainable. It took away. So we reintroduced it. Then capitalist system took away another thing. They are always told everybody has to work for somebody. Job is the king. I said, why? Why a human being has to work for somebody else? This problem came to Bangladesh when the second generation of families of Grameen families, they had education but no jobs. They complained to me that there's no job. I said, why are you looking for job? Job is an obsolete idea. Don't even think about jobs. Always tell yourself that I'm not a job seeker, I'm a job creator. Be a job creator, be an entrepreneur. They said, never taught us. The schools never taught us how to be an entrepreneur. I said, look at your mother. Your mother took $30 loan 20 years back, 30 years back, and ever since she is running businesses. If your illiterate mother with $30 loan can become an entrepreneur, shame on you. With all the education and all that, to say you don't know how to start a business. I said, go back to your mother. Forget about all your education, this wrong education they gave you, and be as simple as your mother, and discover yourself as a human being, not as a slave-making machine which digs out all the people come and work for somebody else. You're not that. You are a human being with enormous creative power. Don't compromise your creative power to serve somebody else. So be an entrepreneur, that's it. So what we do, we create a social business venture capital fund, ask the young people to come with business ideas, and we invest in their business. Now thousands and thousands of young people come with the business ideas, we invest in them, they start their businesses, and so on. So we said, this is a possibility, we can do that. So we can create that kind of thing. With the kind of capitalist system we made, one other big thing that has created a problem globally, extreme concentration of wealth. 8 people in the whole world today owns more wealth than the bottom 50% of the people. 4 billion people wealth equals the wealth of 8 people. And it's getting worse. Tomorrow, there'll be one person who will be owning more wealth than 8 billion people, is 4 billion people. And today, it's getting worse and worse. So we have a huge mushroom kind of thing as a wealth commanded by 4 or 5 people or 8 people. And the stem of the mushroom represents the 99.9% of the people whose wealth is that's the stem. Mushroom is for few people. So that mushroom is growing, number of owners of the mushroom is shrinking, and the stem that comes from that mushroom is becoming slimmer and slimmer. So the 99% of the people have less and less, fraction of the people has more and more. So that's unsustainable world If you follow this path, this is a disaster path. This is a ticking time bomb. Unless we address these issues, we are in a big disaster situation. So that's what we draw attention. Once we create the world with social business, there is no wealth concentration, because in social business, there's no concentration because I don't take any wealth at all. The owners don't take any wealth. So that's, if we all become entrepreneurs, there is no concentration because we are not working for them anymore to make their money. We work for us, create our own money. So we share the wealth ourselves rather than pass it on to the top. And particularly with the artificial intelligence coming soon, even the job that you're looking for will not be there. All the jobs will be done. Not only the jobs for the young people who will be joining the job market, they will not have any job. The people who are already in the job will be out of job very soon. It's coming. So you have to figure out what kind of world it would be. The huge human population without jobs, and the artificial intelligence is running the factories, running the offices, running everything else. And you have to find a solution for that. It's not simply walk away from that issue. This is a serious thing that we have to address ourselves. So we have to find a way how to build the dignity of the human being and the creativity of the human being and control the life of the people by themselves. That's a key to the whole issue that we have been discussing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come back up the stairs for me for just a second.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You have honored us with your words today, Professor Yunus. Ladies and gentlemen, before we depart this evening, Professor Yunus has to head off to the airport very shortly because the Nobel Prize winner is much in demand. He's heading back to another part of the world tonight. But before he leaves, I would like to call up to the stage Wake Forest's own Professor Patrick McMullen to present a gift to Professor Yunus. In addition to being an award-winning professor in his own right, Professor McMullen is a talented craftsman. And so that our guest may take a piece of North Carolina with him, Professor McMullen has handcrafted for Professor Yunus a bowl made from eastern red cedar, which is a wood native to North Carolina, and inlaid with a coin commemorating Wake Forest and the Eudaimonia Institute. Please join me in thanking one more time Professor Muhammad Yunus.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.